My name is Mark Laff. I'm a computer scientist and a software developer. Worked for a number of years at IBM, doing a wide variety of computer science research things. In my work with Dr. Mandelbrot, it was clear to me, though, that he was in an area that wasn't traditional mathematics. I could definitely see that traditional mathematicians wouldn't necessarily get or understand or appreciate what he was up to. I'm not sure whether artists would as well, for the opposite reason. You're working in mathematics, you're working in computers. This is all generated by this machine. How can it be art? So my sense was he was on a frontier, and his work wasn't necessarily recognized at the time. When we created an image and took a look at it, I guess in the high resolution, or in the low resolution as well, we were always concerned with artifacts. The question was, the thing we were seeing on the page, was it a result of the mathematics, or was it a result of the calculation limitations of a digital computer, or was it simply a bug? Things we were drawing on the screen no one had ever seen before, so we couldn't tell whether these things were correct or not. The big criterion was to look carefully at the surprises, the visual surprises, things that Dr. Mandelbrot may not have anticipated, and to sort of zoom in on those areas and then look backwards at the software that generated those and just really convince ourselves that this was real mathematics we were seeing and not some other round-off error artifact, etc. Dr. Mandelbrot wanted to focus on the mathematics, not to add anything or not to obscure any mathematical details. And so to the extent that these images look realistic, that's purely the magic of the mathematics. There was no real focus on making it look photorealistic. I don't think Dr. Mandelbrot was much interested in art per se or looking at the work as art. There were some folks at IBM and at other places who saw the beauty and focused on the beauty of the fractal mathematics. But I think, in terms of Mandelbrot, he was always working very hard to get the respect most of the mathematical community. So the technology we had at the time was really based on mainframe computers, which were oriented towards batch data processing and not at all interactive as the computers we have now, where everything is graphical. Back then, in order to do graphics, we had to have special purpose hardware. What we used was a Tektronix terminal with what they call a direct view storage tube. It was a green screen, and the computer sends actual drawing commands to this screen and drew lines and dots and filled in boxes basically on the screen. The challenge was to take the algorithms and translate those into the drawing orders to explore the particular area of the curve that he wanted to explore. So that you had to write an interactive program to do that. That was sort of a command-based thing. There were no icons or buttons at the time. And then the other component was, once he decided that he wanted a high-quality, high-resolution output of a particular curve, we would run a separate program that would send instructions to either a film recorder or a high-resolution photographic printer that would run in batch and take hours to process. And so basically we got 2 runs a day of those. They would expose a photographic paper, then would go through a regular chemical process like you would find in a regular photographic darkroom. Dr. Mandelbrot tried, he told me, this was before I showed up, that he had tried to actually do computer programming once, and it was just a complete disaster. He was completely incapable of the detailed step required for doing programming. So he had had a long history of successful collaborations with programmers who would then translate his ideas and his visions into, real computer programs. The mundane details of what subroutine you called to get what line drawn on the screen would get in the way of his idea flow. As I look through the artifact in the collection here, I'm reminded of how beautiful they are. I mean, they're just inspiring, all on their own as visual artifacts, very beautiful graphics, and to realize that these were made by computer to begin with, from abstract mathematics, makes the beauty all that much more surprising and interesting, and it reminds you of many different things, both in art and nature. The way that works is really compelling.